In the much-awaited prisoner swap between US and Russia, Moscow has released US basketball star Brittney Griner in exchange for a convicted international arms dealer Victor Bout. But the event has resurfaced the debate over prisoners' exchange. The question in the center of the debate is, do prisoner swaps do more harm than good? The critics, including some of the members of the US Congress and the federal law enforcement, have raised concerns over the process. They argue that such exchanges only encourage the foreign states to target the Americans to gain grip over the United States. However, the families of those detained abroad reject this argument. They say that the US government should rather focus on dissuading and punishing the governments which wrongfully detain or imprison the Americans. The plight of the American detainees abroad gained visibility after Griner's arrest in February this year. More and more such families stepped up their efforts. One such case is of Paul WION. Paul is a former US Marine imprisoned in a Russian penal colony. US was hopeful to get him back along with Griner, but that could not happen. Now his family is worried that Paul will not be able to be freed in time to be face-to-face with his parents, both of whom who are in their 80s. Paul was convicted in 2020 of spying after a trial held entirely behind the closed doors. The US diplomats say that the trial was unfair and opaque, in which Paul was sentenced to 16 years in a maximum security penal colony. He, however, denies all the charges.
It's a challenge. I think every day that goes past, that concern grows that we are getting closer to the point where Paul won't be able to see our parents. They won't be able to see him again. They haven't seen a picture of him other than media shots since June of 2020.
Now, the detention of the US citizens overseas is not new. The Soviet Union captured U-2 pilot Francis Gary Powers in the 1960s. Then there was the Iran hostage crisis in the 70s. More recently, the imprisonment of the Americans have been reported from North Korea, Iran and China. But throughout the course of this troubled history, the US administrations have wrestled with the question of whether and when to negotiate. Critics say that the problem has become acute, as some governments are apparently using the detention as a negotiating tactic. North Korea detaining a US college student in 2016 might be a case in point. North Korea was struck in a dispute with the international community over its missile launches, and hence used the detention to gain concessions. The student, however, died just days after his return. The US does not provide an official figure for how many Americans are held abroad. But the James W. Foley Legacy Foundation says that more than 60 Americans are wrongfully detained in about 18 countries. The foundation is named after an American journalist abducted and killed in Syria.